Hey, good evening. It's Tuesday, December 19th, and welcome back to Everyday Talk 24/7. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas. So we're going to jump back into the Luke narrative tonight. We left off at the end of chapter 1. You recall where we had this beautiful description of Zechariah talking about his son John and how he would be the forerunner of Jesus, and drawing on Isaiah's prophecy. But now, Luke jumps us right back into the present day of the time. Remember, Luke is talking to his friend Theophilus, explaining to him about the wonders of the story of Christ in his gospel. So Luke then begins this way. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to his own town to register. Augustus is an interesting person. We just sort of read over him here and just move on to what we consider the important part of the text, but we lose sight of the fact of what God did to put this man, Augustus, as the head of the Roman Empire. Augustus' story is amazing. He was a nephew of Julius Caesar. He admired Julius Caesar. When Caesar was in battle in Spain, Augustus went. At that time, his name wasn't Augustus, his name was Gaius, Octavius Gaius. But anyway, he went to join Caesar on the battlefield as a 16-year-old. Along the way, he becomes shipwrecked, crosses enemy lines to be with his uncle. Julius Caesar is so impressed with Gaius's courage that he makes him, he adopts him as his son. Then, when Julius Caesar is assassinated, his nephew, his new adopted son, rises to power under the name of Octavian and then under the name of Augustus. So we have Caesar Augustus. His skill as a leader, as an emperor, as a harsh emperor, but nevertheless an effective leader, ushered in a period of time in Roman history called the Pax Romana. In other words, the Roman peace, which was the exact perfect time for Jesus to come into the world and the exact perfect time for the gospel to go forth. Because all throughout the Roman Empire, things were at peace. Yes, you had the Roman army to deal with, but things were settled. There was a settled political climate so the gospel could go forth. No internet, no mass media production, no publications, just this time of peace brought about by this man, Augustus, who was in the right place at the right time as, again, another energetic teenager moved to a place of power, who later set the stage for the perfect timing of Jesus to be born. It's an amazing story. So don't want to skip over that part. It's just amazing. So he sets this thing up for the census to be taken. So Joseph went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and lineage or line of David. He gathers Mary, and we'll get into this more tomorrow, but he gathers up Mary, and they take a journey of approximately 90 miles, which is, wow. Mary's in the 8th and 9th month of her pregnancy, at the end of her pregnancy. And she walks for 90 miles back to the hometown. And as you know, and we'll pick up the story there tomorrow, where she comes into the hometown of Joseph. And what do they have? There's no room for them. So they wind up in a stable because there was no room for them in the inn. But that's the background. God is constantly working. We call it behind the scenes. Nothing behind the scenes at all with God. He is working actively to bring about what he wants. This was not some kind of a random historical thing that Augustus just happened to be at the right time to be Caesar's nephew, then to be Julius Caesar's adopted son, and then to go through a whole, the history there is fascinating. All kinds of political intrigue and whatnot with Mark Antony, Cleopatra, all that stuff. Augustus rises through that as a skilled political leader and sets forth this time of Roman peace, which was the perfect time for the gospel to go forward, because there was a stable government throughout all of the Mediterranean world because of this one boy who later became the ruler, the first emperor of Rome. This is how God is actively working in history. There's nothing happenstance. When we look at all the craziness happening today, none of it's random. God is doing things, preparing things, so that the people that he wants to come to him will be saved. They will come to him. That's what human history is all about. That's what we need to take comfort in. And that's what makes this story of Christmas such an exciting time, because we see God coming both in the person of Jesus, but also in the direct plan of God, orchestrating history so that the people that God wants to come to him will come. What a beautiful story. And we'll get into the actual birth of Christ coming up. But tonight, let's not miss this background, where this idea of Caesar Augustus is a fascinating story all on its own. Thanks so much for being here, and Lord willing, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. You have a great night. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. May God richly bless you as you seek to live for his glory.